in this area, what we're going to do is go and convert a Photoshop document to the foundational HTML. So remember, the foundational HTML is not everything that we need for the web page, but sort of the basics that are going to define the major sections of the design. And so I sort of have these 8 simple rules for doing it that you can follow and help you through this part of the process. So what we're going to do is we have these rules, and then we're also going to be working with this Photoshop document here as well at the same time. So I'll be looking at the rules in abstract, but then we'll also be looking at them in terms of this particular document here. Okay, so let's get going. The first rule is you start with validity. Sorry, it shouldn't be a validity. It should be start with just validity. And what that means is you want to have a valid HTML document to start with a proper doc type, HTML element, title element, character set, and language. So we're also going to be, obviously, the other thing we're going to be looking at is our HTML document, and here is our valid HTML document. It has a doc type. In this case, we're using XHTML strict. We have our HTML element. Because it's XHTML, we need our XML namespace defined. We have the language defined. Also, because XML, we have the language defined in that way. These help the browsers know that it's an English language page. We need a title. So I'm going to call that PSD to HTML, foundational HTML. And this meta tag is also important. The content type that we set our character set to TF8, that is a common default one that allows you to use a bunch of different languages on the page, and the characters for those languages will show up properly. And then so we also have our body tags and our closing HTML tag. So that is starting with our valid document. So the next place to go to is to know that everything on the web is a box, right? In terms of your browsers, as far as it's concerned, it's there. What you're seeing on the right is a screenshot from CSS Zen Garden, and using Firefox in the Web Developer Toolbar, there's something you can do that says to view all the block level elements, to outline them, and that's what this has done here. These are all these block level elements on the page, and they've been outlined, and this is how your browser sees the page. It sees it as these series of boxes that have names to them. And so when you're looking at your design in terms of thinking about how it's going to translate to HTML, part of what you do is you kind of say, all right, where are the boxes in my design? And so what I'm going to do, this is sort of an optional step, but I find it can be really helpful, is you can actually physically draw on and add those boxes and names to your Photoshop file. And it can help you in remembering what you need to do when you go now from the next step of starting to write the HTML. Okay, so this is something that we're going to do here. We're going to start to sort of draw out our different boxes on the page as you can see them there. So I'm going to switch over to the Photoshop file now, and we're going to do that. So what I'm using here is let me also pull this out here. Okay, see if I can sort of fit all this in at once. There's different tools and different ways to do it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the marquee tool here, and if I want to start putting out different boxes on it, I'll just basically draw out here like that. What I'm going to do as well is have on the background color what I want a fill for this to be, and then the foreground color I'm just going to kind of pick, in this case, a saturated red. Alright, so I'm going to have red with a little box there. And then the other piece that's important is I want to do this in a separate section, so I can easily like hide it or get rid of it. So I'm going to make a new group here, and I'm going to name this boxes. And I'm actually going to call it big boxes. Oops. because later we may add some other boxes that are for the smaller ones. So in big boxes here, we're going to add a new layer and start drawing those in. So let's go here. Now, one quick way to do this is once you use the marquee tool, if you go to Edit and Stroke, which you can sort of barely see there, it will then allow you to add a stroke to it. So in this case, it's a 2-pixel red stroke. And I can also go into Edit and Fill, and I can add in a fill here, and I'm going to use the background color, which was that gray, and 50% opacity, and so that is a fill that I can add. So that would be one section of the site, and then I have another section over here, this section there, and so I can do the same things, fill and stroke, and I have another section here, and we're just sort of going through and adding these in so that we can see the various major sections of the site. Okay, fill and stroke. And then I'm going to add another one here for the navigation because that's an important area as well. And can't forget the footer at the bottom. Okay. So now what you can also do is we can also go in here and start adding some text in using the text tool to name these things. And these are the names that we're going to give later on to our IDs and classes, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So I'm going to say, all right, this is the, oops, I have a text field there, so it's going to try to go into that. So I'm gonna lock off all these other ones that I have here so that I can't edit any of those. And then we're going to now try to put in here our text field. So this is the header. I could use a different color than that as well. How about I use the same red color for my text. Header. Okay. Now there's a few things I want to do with this header. So I'm going to take this layer, I'm going to make sure it's in big boxes as well, and I'm going to move it so it's up here on header, and then I'm going to use a few effects here. You can do different ones. I'm just going to put on an outer glow to make it pop out more from the page. So just changing the color to black on the outer glow, the blend mode to multiply, and then you can just modify here a little bit if you want, the spread and things like that. So it's just something to help make sure it sort of like is apparent and pops out on the page, and then I'll just say okay, so when I get it to how I want. And then if I hold the Option key down and click and drag this, I can have names out now for these other sections. So this is going to be the various sections of the site. And then we can go in and rename those. So click the text tool here. This is nav for my navigation. And this one is, I'll call it side nav, because it's sort of a navigation there too, but it's on the side. This is going to be my content area. This I'll call sidebar, and this is the footer. So now I have the major sections of the site, and you don't have to stop there. Really everything is a box, as we were saying, so you can also go in now and we can add some more boxes in. So I'm going to make one for the small boxes. So I'll make a new group, and this is going to be my small boxes. And this way I can see them separately if I want to. Adding a new layer here. So in this layer, I'm going to draw around some of these other content areas of the site. So again, choose my marquee tool. This time I'm going to change my color. Let's use a saturated green in this case. Alright, and so that'll be green. And I'm not going to worry about filling this time. I'm just going to sort of draw some lines. So this here is an area that we have. That was one of the navigations. And so we're going to stroke that. And there was another section here. And then we have our sort of blog posts there. Stroke that. And another one here. And so I would give all these names as well. Alright, and I have some sections here. This is portfolio editions, and so on. So you basically can go in now and mark off all your areas and sort of start to think about what am I going to call these sections. And so that way, when it comes time to address them with CSS, you already have class names and ID names. So here are now the sections of the site. I might decide to add some text in for those. So for example, this could be, oops, need to go back up to here, add some text in to my small boxes. Oh, yeah, sorry, I forgot. This is the thing. If you look at the text tool, when it doesn't have a little box around it, it means it's trying to edit it. See, now I moved it up and it has a little box. I don't know if you can see that in the video. It'll have a little dotted line around it. That's when you can add new text in. So I'm going to call this blog post. Okay, and you could also do a similar change on this one. In fact, if you want to keep the sort of outer glow from that, you can go to one of your other text fields that you had under big boxes. I can right click on that and I can highlight it and then copy the out here. I can copy, where is that, layer style. You have to, I forgot you can't click right on here, you have to click out, and then up here I can copy and paste layer style and get the same layer style there. And then I can also now take this using my select tool and I could move it around to some different areas and give these names as well. Right, and then I would obviously want to use my text tool here and change these. So this was side nav, and that is categories, and I believe this one is features. So we can rename all of these to be something that's appropriate for what it is. Could be a portfolio. I guess it's recent portfolio. And so forth. About me. Recent posts. And so forth. So this is, where you're kind of thinking through your names of what you're going to call things and do it. And the color coding here for me is just for major sections and minor sections. And of course, using these folders for things, I can then just show the minor ones or the major ones and vice versa, like that. Okay, so now that we have that, you're in a great position to be able to now go and start putting in your HTML into the page.